Want to learn how you can create content even if you feel like you just don't have the time? Your content can provide a great return on investment, boost brand awareness, and provide value to your audience at the same time. That's why it's critical to find the time and the place to create content in the first place. This video covers 4 things you can do right now to find more time to create content, even if you feel like you don't have a lot of time. You'll learn how to create a time budget, fight procrastination, batch your content, and work in your biological prime time. Hey there, Empire Builders. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Haley Dale, a content and sales funnel strategist helping you create more purposeful, productive, and yes, profitable content too. So if that sounds like what you're looking for, make sure to hit subscribe down below this video for more value-packed videos just like this one every single Monday. All of us have too much to do most, if not all, of the time, trying to grow our businesses, working with clients, maybe managing day jobs at the same time, and living our actual lives and all that other stuff. So having to create content on top of all that can feel a little inconvenient or like it should be the least of your priorities. But what if you could A, spend less time creating content, B, get more results from it, and C, love every single minute you get to spend creating it? A dream, right? Creating content consistently and in a strategic way is important because it can have some pretty big payoffs in terms of return on investment for your business. It's one of the best and most affordable sources of new leads, and it's a great way to build brand awareness. In this video, I'm going to teach you 4 foolproof methods to help you find more time to create content for your business, as well as details on how to use them most effectively. Method number 1 is to create a time budget. It may not be a lack of time that keeps you from creating content, but simply a lack of managing or budgeting your time in the right way. My monthly action plan generator is the perfect tool for this because it helps you gather action planning tools, create a summary, and then build out an action plan with the time that you actually have available. The monthly action plan actually just overlays on top of your quarterly or monthly strategies so that you can create a plan that is doable, realistic, based on reality, and aligned. It basically puts some strategy behind how you spend your time, which will help you find the dedicated time specifically for content creation. It's helped me improve how effectively I use my own time, which I call my secret productivity weapon. So if you want a copy of that, I'm going to link to a blog post that goes through the entire method, as well as where you can find a free copy of this tool to start using for yourself. So if you find that it's lack of time or that you just don't have time to create content, definitely go and check that tool out. If you feel like you could use some help in using your time more effectively, or just making sure you're using your time to actually reach your goals and priorities, and if you're wondering where all that time is going. And after that, we have method number 2, which is to fight procrastination. Procrastination can be a killer when it comes to content creation. Sometimes the hardest part of writing any new piece of content is usually overcoming the fear, dread, I don't know where to start thoughts. At least that's true for me. Funnily enough, once I do start and once I finish, I almost always wonder why I put it off in the first place. It's always very easy to put together in the end, but simply, how can you overcome that fear of starting or simply getting started? I love this quote because it completely hits the nail on the head for me when it comes to content procrastination. Being a good writer is 3% talent and 97% not being distracted by the internet. Anonymous. So besides the obvious advice of avoiding the internet at all costs, here are my favorite tips for busting through that procrastination rut when it comes to writing a new blog post or creating any new piece of content for that matter. Number 1 is to pre-write your content without expectation. So once I've settled on the topic, but before I've done anything else for the piece of content, I set a timer and just write. I get ideas out from my head and onto a piece of paper, take some time to organize my thoughts, and just get started without the pressure of like that blank cursor, right? I need to get started. I need to write something. Simply, it's like tricking myself into get starting in a really no pressure way. This really is like my terrible first draft, and it's one of the ways that I've cut the time that I used to spend on creating a single blog post. It's also a great way to make sure that you're sharing your own ideas, unique ideas, and serves as a kind of a pre-done outline for the real deal post. It's all about separating that content planning and content creation process, which is number 2 method. So avoid deciding what to write and actually writing in the same setting. I think that they require different hats, right? My content strategy hat is a lot different from my content writing hat. So by keeping those two things separate, when I sit down to actually write, I have a plan for what I'm writing instead of needing to figure that out first, which, I can quickly go down a rabbit hole and not spend any time creating content at all. So if you try to do both at once, you might find yourself staring at that dreaded blinking cursor and a blank Word doc. Number 3, quick tip for getting started and fighting procrastination is to interview yourself. So if you find that you're still having trouble getting started with your content creation, you could always start by interviewing yourself. If writing is the trouble and you'd rather just speak it, right? If you're curious about how to use this interview technique, I taught it in a recent video and blog post, how to use my content interview process, which I'll link below this video and you can check it out here. It's an interview process that helps you generate content quickly and easily through self-interviewing. There are some finer details, but it looks a little something like this, right? You create an outline. This could be your prompts or your series of questions. What are the questions that I'm going to ask? What are the questions that this post has to ask in order to fulfill its purpose? Then you record yourself responding to those questions, just like you're talking to a friend or a podcast interview. You can even rope someone into interviewing you. Then you transcribe the audio and use that as the basis for your piece of content. You may be surprised at how easy and seamlessly this process can help you simply get the words out there and accumulate a lot of content really, really quickly. Which brings us to method number 3, which is to batch your content. Sometimes if it's taking a long time to create content, it's simply because you're trying to context switch. You're switching from writing to creating the images, to creating the social media, to scheduling, doing all of that and lumping it into content creation. Where if we were to batch similar tasks together, we would limit the amount of time we're switching from thing to thing. We're not going to be writing when we're also trying to design images, but can we batch all of our monthly images together? Can we batch all of our editing together, all of our scheduling together, right? By content batching, it's the method that I pretty much live and die by. And if you want some insight into my personal batching process, definitely check out the How to Batch a Month of Content in 5 Days, where I walk you through the exact process of what batching looks like for me. There is a huge cost to your time when it comes to switching between types of tasks, not just the actual time that it takes to shut down and open new programs on your computer and or get the right materials in front of you, but also the time that it takes to mentally shift your focus and get into a new task. In American Psychology Association, D.E. Meyer reports that on average, shifting between tasks wastes as much as 40% of someone's productive time. That is a whole lot of time that you could be spending on content creation instead. So by batching, we're able to focus on the steps of the creation process for multiple pieces of content because the tasks are similar. We're batching the same tasks together. For example, resizing or designing photos for all of your posts that you're working on at the same time, or doing all of your scheduling and formatting at the same time in WordPress, or scheduling in your social media scheduler. So what parts of the process could you start batching to save yourself up to 40% more time? Method number 4 is to work in your biological prime time. Chris Bailey talks about saving your BPT, your biological prime time, for your most important work in the book, The Productivity Project. Content creation goes best when we are at our most creative and our most focused. So using your BPT is the perfect time for these activities. Everyone's BPT is individual to them. I'm at my best and most creative first thing in the morning from about 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 3 p.m., I usually experience a major energy slump where I just want to nap. So I've learned that trying to write a new blog post or create something new in the afternoon isn't the smartest use of my time. I love this quote from Doug Kessler that says, "An hour with a fresh mind is worth 5 hours of fog." And it is so true. It's worth figuring out your BPT. You might already know it, but there are some great techniques and tips in the Productivity Project, which I'll link below this video. So save the busy and admin work for when you're low energy, right? And save the creative creation work for when you're at your most focused and most creative. Above all else, carve out time for content creation. And I want you to tell me in the comments if you have any questions about finding more time for creating content. And if you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit on the next video on your screen and subscribe down below for new value-packed videos just like this one every single Monday.